something very revealing and also disturbing has surfaced in the trial of the Proud Boys, and specifically of Enrique Tarrio, who is the leader of the Proud Boys. By the way, they're standing trial in D.C. Under charges of seditious conspiracy. Now, during the government's case, this was Assistant Attorney General Connor Mulrow, and he has Special Agent Peter Dabrowski of the FBI on the stand. And they're talking about a document that is called the 1776 returns. So in other words, 1776 returns, alluding to the fact that we're back at the moment of the American Revolution. And this is a document that supposedly lays out a plan for the takeover of the Capitol. If you look at this document, 1776 returns, it talks about occupying 8 key buildings in D.C. on January 6, 2021. And this document, according to the government, is a document that somehow is associated with the Proud Boys. It was a document that was retrieved from Enrique Tarrio, and the government goes, hey, look, clear. These guys were specifically plotting to seize 8 buildings and take them over. So if you're looking for evidence that there was a seditious conspiracy to take over the government, here it is. Now, here's the problem. This document appears to be a planted document. And this has been now discovered by the defense, and the defense has put a motion before the judge. And the motion is a kind of a bombshell, because here's what the defense is saying. The defense is saying, first of all, that this document was not composed by Tarrio. It was sent to him on Telegram, the social media platform, by his girlfriend or a girl that he knew, a woman named Erica Flores. But guess who composed this document? Somebody associated with the U.S. government. In other words, the plot did not come from the Proud Boys. It came from a plant or agent or somebody with deep government connections. In fact, the defense knows exactly who wrote the document. The document was written by a guy named Samuel Armes, A-R-M-E-S, Arms, or Armes. This guy is a guy who has connections with the FBI. He has connections with the CIA. He is a former State Department official. He's also involved in special operations. He was interviewed by the January 6th committee. And when the January 6th committee interviewed him, he told them that he wrote the document. In fact, what he did was he wrote the document, he gave it to Erica Flores, the girl, and he told Erica Flores, send this to Tarrio. Now, think about the implications of this. First of all, there's a plot for an insurrection prior to January 6th. But the plot is hatched not by the Proud Boys, not by Enrique Tarrio. He is the unwitting recipient of this document on Telegram from a girl that he knows, but she didn't write it either. It was given to her by a government-related operative or agent and with the specific instructions to send it to him. So you can see here how clear it is that if this is true, if what I have just said is factual, and of course this is what the defense is alleging, that they know this to be true, and in fact they're saying that this guy who wrote the document has already admitted it. He's admitted it in his testimony to the January 6th committee. Now, no surprise, the January 6th committee doesn't want to highlight stuff like this. Why? Because it looks to be clear evidence that the government orchestrated not just the Whitmer kidnapping, but orchestrated January 6th. This document would have to have been composed prior to January 6th. Why? Because it refers to what the Proud Boys should do on January 6th. So this is now all gone before the judge. And the judge is this guy named Timothy Kelly. Interestingly enough, he is a Trump appointee, but he appears to be a swamp creature, a DC guy. He's like, I don't know, so far he's been very hostile to these defendants. And I think the worst thing that these defendants are facing are biased judges and biased juries. So even when you've got bombshell evidence, to me, if this is true, all these guys should be immediately acquitted. Why? Because the so-called, first of all, you should be very clear. There's no other evidence. There's no other document that shows the Proud Boys planning any kind of insurrection. At one point, they have all these seemingly boastful and even, promising violence text exchanges, but the text exchanges are all about fighting Antifa. So you basically have like two rival gangs talking about what's going to happen if I see those guys. The Bloods and the Crips are talking about what they'll do to each other, but this has absolutely nothing to do with an insurrection. So the government here appears to be knowingly, and I highlight knowingly because they're aware that this guy, Arms, has told the January 6th committee that he wrote the document. So they're aware that the document is from them. It's from the government. But they're pretending like it's a document from the Proud Boys, and they're using it to say, see, this is the incriminating evidence you've been looking for to show that these guys are planning an insurrection. The whole thing is utterly disgusting, repulsive, disheartening, and enough to really break your confidence in the U.S. justice system.